ability to work your colt off of your saddle horse is really important, and it's a good thing to do. It gives them the opportunity to see a rider up above their head in the position where you would be ultimately when you go to get on. It's really good to start working on getting control of the horse's body and teaching him how to balance, how to step left and right before you actually get up there on his back. So what Tom's doing here is having the colt step over with the hind feet first, and then shifting the weight back in order to free up the front feet to step through. And this is a very important turn that we'll be focusing on once we get up into the saddle. It's very important that that horse is all right with somebody up over his head. He's comfortable with his ears being touched, and he's able to be next to that saddle horse and still stay focused and complete his job.
I will, of course, be separating them to work them.
Right. And just try to keep your work quiet and soft and not hot and sweaty. You have to. Just try to make it. They don't know when they're playing. Saddle them, turn them loose, get on them, get off them, walk them around. Don't make it hard. They don't know when they're playing and when they're not. You know.
Okay.
That's the first. And that doesn't mean you let them get by with stuff. It just means you don't ask for very hard stuff.
Yeah, I understand.
When you ask for it, you get it. But it's simple. And that's something that everybody has to think about, including me. Keeping your demands light doesn't mean you don't get it.
Right.
It just means you'd ask for stuff that you're confident you can get.
Right.
Go ahead and do him from the other side. Just so we see what's here.
Well, they're good with that, aren't they?
Yes. We're even going to do the right side. Just put it over there like I got that link.
Yeah, when you first start out, you want to do that by yourself.
Do that one more.
You only buy the canoe, but I don't know what you have.
All he had to do there was step back a step, which was hard to do with one person. All he had to do was step back a step. We'll see how he rides today, but I wouldn't even worry about that. Saddle him from that side when you get home, just saddle him. The main thing is saddle him, turn him loose. You got a place to do that. And just let him get used to the fact that this saddle walking around, it doesn't mean hot, sweaty work, son of a bitch, the rest of my life is a slave, you know.
No, I understand.
And then pretty quick, you can just get on him and run.
I know how to go slow.
Good.
I'm so slow, I barely get anything done.
As Jack said, you're so far behind, you think you're ahead.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
At a time or two. Not really to me, but you know, just kind of. That's what he said after.
And right away, Tom's going to go back to what he was doing previously, which is getting control of the colt's feet. He's still asking the colt to step the hindquarters under and shift the weight back in order to free up the front end. This colt gets a little bit stuck here. He thinks he'd rather lean forward than shift the weight back. It's really important that we get this working before we get up there in the saddle. Now, you don't have to start multiple colts at the same time, but it does add a unique element that you can't really recreate any other way. So these colts have to figure out how to pay attention to Tom and resist their instinct to want to buddy up and find security with each other. And you'll see that start to shape up and work very nicely as these colts progress.
Yeah, I'll split these just a little bit again and get him to move. watch him go back and find that spot. He's just walking around there and watching me to get there. He stops if I don't do anything. He's only So you're always aware that they're looking for that spot, and you make it someplace you want it to be, not someplace you scare them to. Someplace you want it to be, and it'll be a gate or another horse, you know, until you make it that. Greg calls them magnets. There's always something drawing them, and you'd like it to be some place where they feel good with you in charge. They are just looking for the feeling of safety. That's all they're looking for. A comfort zone.
So the end result is that each colt ends up on their own side of the round pen, and they are both fully attentive to Tom. They're not worrying about each other. They're not stuck on each other. They're both watching Tom and ready for his next request.
Bridle on, you get where their head's down here like this, right? And you get where you can lift this with your right hand, and you just open their mouth a couple times and don't put it in. And then you just do like that, and then you haven't shoved it up in there, you just lift it here. Let them kind of take it, and I can show that, and 90% of the time it goes like that. We got a couple here, one of them behind that hour process. You get it in there, but to get them to relax and not fight it. And just take it.
So before you get on for the first time, you want to make sure you can pat that saddle, you can jump up and down, you can put your foot into the stirrup and let the horse feel a little bit of weight come in there. You want to make sure that he's comfortable with all that before you just bail on. So it's important to do this from both sides. And then when you are ready to get on, you want to make sure that you can swing up and over the saddle with your head on the off side. Make sure that horse will stand there before you swing your leg over. You want to just make sure he'll stand there, then gently swing your leg over. And then you're going to see Tom will get off on the right side and then get back on. You just want to let that colt see everything from both sides and really not sneak by there. Another really successful method that's worked for us to put the first ride on the colt is to work the colt with the rider on for the first time around the saddle horse. So the colt's still taking direction just like he was before from the person on the saddle horse, but now the rider can start to introduce their legs a little bit. So bringing both legs in real gently to encourage the horse to walk forward. You can use your inside leg back a little bit when it's time to ask the hindquarters to step out. And then your outside leg forward will ask the front end to then step through in that two-part turn. And so the horse starts to associate what your legs mean by what the person on the saddle horse is asking them to do. And this makes your first solo ride go so much smoother. It's worked wonderful for us. And we've started a lot of colts in this manner.
What he's doing is leaning on the bit real hard.
Yep.
And so I want him to move his feet for some other reason that I'm pulling on. He's got to lift up his shoulders and move his feet to do it that way. Yeah. It's harder to hide. I can hide this right here if I get in trouble. I could use it, and I might, but I usually don't use it this quick. He would be a good marketing tool. if you could feel, you can probably see a lot of it. If you can feel what's going on, boy, he has to lift his back up and pick his shoulders up and step, not lean on my hand and let me pull him around. And so it kind of makes them a little flinchy. And when they get a little flinchy in there, you want to get that happen.
Horse?
Where it doesn't seem like it's chasing them. You want to get right here with it, or they'll just leave and they can, you can create something you don't want. But he darn sure needs it before I send him home. He just needs to keep lifting up and stepping, not being pulled. And he'll lighten up. See, he's already better about the ring because he's picking his own feet up.
Are you using your legs?
A little bit.
In conjunction with the
inside leg right there till he bends, then outside leg a little bit till that left front goes.
You're getting them to bend around that inside leg.
Just a little, not a lot. Just a little back there, then outside leg there. Okay. Yeah, his mouth got quiet. Everything changed. We had to tie his mouth shut. Let him eat with the bridle on. Just show him what it's in there. It's in there, so if I lift up and he has that foot, I let go. If I bend him here and he steps left, which he hasn't done yet, kind of power himself to the right, like that, it's gone. So all of a sudden he goes, whoa, that thing's up to my feet. I didn't know that. That bridle is hooked to my feet. If I roll my feet, he gets all right. I'm so small. I'm a little fully. That's good right there.